here. My name is Margot DeBaker. I am the Regional Intellectual Property and Licensing Associate for the Western region of Wisconsin. As we continue celebrating the incredible work happening across Wisconsin in all of our communities today, I'm honored to be introducing the Innovation Champion Awards. So this award recognizes UW leaders, faculty, staff, students, and community partners who have played an integral role in building a culture of innovation here in Wisconsin. These individuals exemplify creativity, collaboration, and commitment to making a meaningful impact. So today we're proud to celebrate 3 outstanding champions of innovation. After I say each name, I'll hand the microphone off to Arjun, who will share a few words about their contributions, and then they'll come up and share a few words themselves. So our first awardee is Pete Marsnick.
Thanks, Margot. So I know we've got a short period of time to do this, but I just wanted to say one thing about the Innovation Champion Awards. You know, we've kind of continued to expand the awards that we do. We would not get our work done without the support of these champions. And we started to think about people who are within the universities who may not be an inventor, but are really critical to the innovation process. And then we kind of said, well, we should be recognizing people who are outside the university as well. And Pete is one of those people. You know, he co-founded Muskie Tank. He helps entrepreneurs build their business ideas. He's the executive director of the Chippewa Valley Angel Investor Network. And he's helped Wysis Venture Home in the Western region. He was the former member of the Eau Claire Steering Committee. He's a 3-time presenter for Level Up, and he's hosted the Muskie Tank panel during the Wysis Venture Home Menominee launch. We're just so grateful to Pete. He's you know, worked for years in collaboration with us as somebody that's a member of the community who has great ideas about how to make innovation happen. And like I said, these things don't happen without that collaborative effect, and that impact is amazing. And so, you know, I told Pete when I called, and actually all the other awardees, that this is kind of the best part of my job, is making those calls and recognizing the people who are really doing the work out there to make it happen. So, congratulations. Thank you so much for all the work that you do. Go ahead. Yeah, come on up. I'm going to ask Dave Rupert to come up and we'll get a picture. Thank you. Thank you. You can say a few words, but only if you
told me I had to keep it under 20 minutes. First of all, I want to thank everyone. Thanks, Arjun, and especially Wilson and Margot, everyone who helped me with being a part of Wysis, all the staff, Alicia, Elizabeth is here, and who did I miss? Adira, yes. And thank you to my wife Patty, who's here. Innovation is not a linear path, and it's not a 9-to-5 job, and it's lumpy, and so thank you. When I think of innovation, it's actually 3 I's that come to mind. It's ideas, inventions, and innovation. Ideas are great. If Arjun, I give you $1, you give me $1, we both have $1. If you share an idea with me and I share an idea with you, we both have 2 ideas. You light a candle from another candle, you don't diminish the first candle. sharing ideas is really important. And that's what makes something like this really great. You're a better person, better families, better communities, and better companies when we share ideas. But ideas are not worth very much. It takes a lot of hard work and diligence to reduce them to practice. If you do that right, you get an invention. WISES can help you with that. The government says you have a patent. They'll give you a head start. You can commercialize your invention with no competition for a certain amount of time. Most of them fail. I always say it's not an innovation, excuse me, until it changes the way people behave. And that happens when you really understand your customers and your market. And still, most of them don't work. But when they do, they change the world. And that's why I want to be a part of this. I'm going to share one story, though, just because it ties together what Rock Mackey talked about this morning with muzzle velocity and incubation. So it's 1930 in Europe. A Hungarian inventor named Laszlo watched some kids playing in the water, and the ball rolled along, and it left some water behind it. He had an idea. Could I make a writing instrument with ink using a rolling ball? His brother, Georgi, was a chemist. So they spent about 7 years refining the concept, and they finally came up with a thin ink, the right roller ball, and they invented a pen. They got a patent on it in 1938. World War II happened, they emigrated to Argentina, started a company in their garage. 5 years later, they licensed it to a company in America. $2 million or something is what they got. That's pretty good. But it's not the end of the story. A guy named Marcel Bic in France acquired the technology, and he marketed it. J'écris propre avec Bic. Pardon my French. It means I write cleanly with Bic. And that's when it really grew. And 75 years later, last night, before we went to watch a concert on the square, I signed the check for our dinner with a Bic ballpoint pen. I said, "What? This is it." And that's what it's all about. So that's the story. And share ideas, keep working on it. You might change the world. Thank you.
Our second awardee is Jessica Martin Ackerley.
Yeah, this moment is hard for me because, as my staff knows, I can talk for a long time. And all of the awardees I could just wax on about. Jessica I met very early on in my tenure in our previous office. And she's an alumna of UW Stevens Point. And from the moment we met, she said, "How can I help?" I mean, that's kind of the spirit. Not kind of, it is the spirit. And she's lived that, in our relationship over the many, many years. So, she's the CEO and founder, so she's an entrepreneur herself. Forward Biolabs, and the spin out from their work at YCell, which frequently gets confused with YSIS. We're all sister organizations to WARF. Why? Why did they name us that way? She's been on the YSIS Venture Home Advisory Committee, and I went to her early on when we had this concept and was so grateful for her advice on, how do you do this thing? Because she was doing it, and how do you help us? And she said, happy to help, and she's been on that advisory committee, and she's an adjunct professor at UW-Madison since 2021. She's a friend. She's very grateful. Thank you, Jessica. You're so deserving of this award. You're one of our champions, so I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Arjun and the entire YSIS team. I'm really, really honored that you thought of me for this award, especially among such other really esteemed people. As Arjun said, I've been an advisor to YSIS's Venture Home since its inception. And I have to say the YSIS team inspires me. They're always seeking new ways to encourage and support entrepreneurship and innovation throughout the universities of Wisconsin. And so it's a very mutual feeling, Arjun and team. And I understand the impact of their work at YSIS because of my own at Forward Biolabs, which is the nonprofit I co-founded and lead. Forward Biolabs provides a fully equipped and supported laboratory for early stage startups. And so this enables a founder and their early team to get started much more quickly and without a lot of capital outlay and expensive equipment and time in getting everything set up. In our work at YSIS and at Forward Biolabs, we always hope that ideas or new technologies will solve big problems, but really truly, what's the most rewarding is seeing founders. And I know some of you maybe are aspiring founders, or you are founders. What's most rewarding is seeing founders be successful. And I know you see this too at Muskie Tank. And this award motivates me to keep building our ecosystem, to keep going, keep building with YSIS and Venture Home, through my own work at Forward Biolabs and with other partners, so that students and faculty and other potential founders, so that we can continue to help translate your ideas into the next big pen that'll change the world. So thank you again, Arjun. I also want to thank my family, my husband and kids Claire and Colin and Calvin had the opportunity to come today. Your support and encouragement means everything to me. The fun and laughter that we have and science talk over dinner keeps me going after a long day at Forward Biolabs. And I want to say one more thing to the students out here. I see you, students, so many of you. It wasn't all that long ago. I was an undergrad myself at UWSP. No, wait, it feels like it wasn't that long ago, right? But I want to share something with you that I wish I knew back then when I was exploring all these different careers and maybe not quite finding the right fit. My message to you is take a chance. Take a chance on a class that's maybe outside your major that you have an interest in. Take a chance on a job that maybe you weren't quite sure of, or take a chance on even a move to a new place that's outside of your comfort zone. All of these are opportunities to grow and learn, and you never know where one of those opportunities, one of those chances will take you. It could be, maybe you're making the next big pen. You never know. You have to just get started. So, students, faculty, potential founders, I look forward to working with you in the future. And students, you're the future leaders of Wisconsin, so I look forward to working with you. Thank you so much.
Our third awardee is Dr. Bradley Bowling.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's real hard for me to not talk very long, so. I want to talk about these people who are unbelievable people. You know, I usually don't talk poorly about places I've worked before, so don't take it as that. I worked in Texas, and an unnamed flagship school, when I worked with them, had trouble collaborating with their sister schools because they weren't other flagship schools or big private institutions around the country. That is not the case here. If there's a knock on UW-Madison, I want somebody to come and talk to me, because that's not been my experience with all the wonderful people that I've worked with. They are incredibly collaborative, but it is hard, right? Like, how do you get people to work together? How do you get them out of their labs, out of their silos? That is not an easy thing to do. And Dr. Bowling has been just an incredible collaborator for the last several years. We would not be in this forward ag discussion without him. He is truly a genuine collaborator. I don't even know how to describe that. When we first met with him, you know, the charge by NSF was to look around and see who had all these ideas and how do you bring everybody together. And that's not easy. In Madison, UW-Madison, you can imagine, they had the most number of submissions of any institution in the country, not just in the region, in the country. And each institution could only submit one proposal to the Engines program. So their vice president for research looked at them and talked to them and said, well, we need to combine our ideas. And then Brad and another faculty member were sent to us and said, hey, you know, you guys talk, how can you work together? And from the word go, everybody was very open and honest, and we just figured out, you know, hey, we've been working on this thing, we think we could all work together, and this is how we should move forward with this. And not only was he on board that day, but every day since, it just, the trust, the collaboration, the incredible intellect that he brings to this project, and, you know, a heat shield, I would say, because a lot of things that go on at UW-Madison that he has to deal with through this project, I don't see. I let him deal with it, and he deals with it with grace and aplomb. So, Brad, I'm just so grateful for all the work that you've done, and you know, you're part of this journey. And thank you so much for that collaborative spirit and being a champion. Hold on. I don't need paper.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wow, thanks a lot, Arjun, and really all of WISIS and anyone who's collaborated or participated in forward agriculture. I think the thing that has stood out for me is the journey of thinking small to thinking big, and how you can impact a system. And for me, it just started with the conundrum that the leading cause of mortality in the U.S. is related to diet. So diet-related diseases are our major healthcare spend. And that relates to agriculture, that relates to systems, and it's a really big and complicated problem that thinking in a vacuum. And innovation requires like not only thinking different but acting different. Some people call it weirdness. But I think the WISIS and others have taught me that it's possible to act on these ideas and to take steps to accomplish these big ideas. And for me, that starts with family and friends who have supported me here at campus. It's colleagues in my lab, the students, colleagues at WARF and Discovery to Product that supported our work. And then the faith of our department and other leaders at our university to give support for big ideas like this. And it's really been a pleasure to get to know colleagues at WISIS. So Arjun and Ira, Blaine, Alicia, Carla, Tony, doing fantastic work, and everyone else there. On the forward ag team, I got to meet so many like interesting and talented people. Steph, Jessica, others who have participated in our work group. It's just amazing. And we're like bound together by this big idea that we can change Wisconsin and we can change the world. And it's just a start. We're working on it, and we're gonna get there. So thanks everybody.
Well, let's give everyone one more big round of applause.